Hi, everybody. Welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report. Ron, thanks for joining us this evening.
Yeah, no problem at all. I hope Sammy gets better.
I want to begin tonight's program with something that an Indianapolis sports guy wrote right after the Spartans and Southport regional game Saturday afternoon, and he said, "Huge ovation from Connersville fans as team leaves court. Well-deserved, tough team." Yeah. That's pretty good coming from an Indianapolis sports writer.
Absolutely. I think this team made an impression, not just on our fan base, but on the fan base of those who got the privilege of witnessing these guys play. A classy team led by a classy coach in Kerry Brown. And, I tell you what, you have community pride with these boys, and it swells up a whole lot more after their run this season.
42-35 was the final. As you and I were talking before the show, the 42 points is what the Spartans on defense gave up all season long. They averaged 51, but they couldn't quite get over the hurdle.
Right.
Southport, a lot of height.
Yeah, they had a lot of height. I mean, you had a 6'10" guy who's clogging up the middle. We did outstanding against him. Two D1 players, Scruggs as well. I think he led us up for 19. But again, our defense was our signature. I mean, we played defense very, very well, and that's a trademark of Kerry Brown's teams. But this year just amplified it a whole lot more. And again, the Indianapolis commentators on television were talking about how they were surprised it was this low score. They expected Southport to score 60, 70 points against Connersville, but they didn't know our defense very, very well. Again, we played a top 10 team, and they were sweating.
Ranked number 9 in all the polls before the tournament began. We have some footage courtesy of Channel 40 in Indianapolis, so let's check this out right now. And Ron, we might make some comments as this goes along here. This is early in the ball game, of course. First shot of the game, I think, came from that guy, a three-point land.
He's a D1 player, and the Spartans again right there's the janitor. I mean, that guy has a touch. I mean, that guy. I mean, I'm proud that. Good news, he's a senior next year.
Yeah, Bo Isaacs, he's hard to handle.
Yeah,
another long shot.
Yeah, Grant, he's going to be another senior this year, next year. So we got some talented leaders on our team next year. And again, Southport, you would expected them to be a whole lot more speedier than we were, and that they would exploit that. And they came out to that. I mean, look at that huge lead. 20, almost it was a 23-8 lead that they had on us, and then we just stormed back. I mean, right here, this is where it takes a 23-8. Look at that speed right there, and that we were done. Right there, it seemed like we were done, but we stormed back. Look at that. That's an NBA three. That's unbelievable.
Isaacs again, number 52.
Oh, look at that drive there from Garrett. I tell you what, that kid's the driver. He's not afraid to go against anybody.
No, he cuts right through the team's defense. We've seen that all season long.
Yeah, he's deceptively fast as there's a janitor again hitting a three. And, look at this comeback. I mean, 17-3 run. And Southport, again, they went into the locker room sweating.
There's a three by the Spartans.
Yeah, that's Noah Bell. That kid, next year, Noah, he's going to have a lot, he had a lot of playing time this year, the little freshman. There he is right there. And, that kid is going to, look at that fan base is just going ballistic. I wish we were there, but that kid's going to have he's going to be the Garrett Silcott of next year.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, we'll have a terrific guard duo. Absolutely.
Again, Southport, they're unraveling a little bit. And, when they were up 23-8, and here it is 26-23, it's unbelievable. Tyler had not his best game, but that kid's leadership throughout the season, throughout his tenure here at CHS, unbelievable.
Right, there's the score at the end of the third quarter, 26-25. Spartans down by just a point. I was wondering what was going through Southport's mind about that time.
Well, they just needed to reset and not panic, and we needed to just calm our excitement down but we just played not a good fourth quarter.
No, it's 42. That's the 6'10" guys for Butler.
Yeah, Butler's happy to have him again. We just made some erratic passes. Surprisingly, we had 16 turnovers. They had 13. We only had 3, but it seemed like we had a whole lot more. Look at that deep shot right there.
Yes.
it looked like we had a whole lot more turnovers, especially with this fourth quarter. But we out-rebounded them, surprisingly, as Grant gets the rejection right there.
That is real surprising because the 6'10" guy camped under the basket all the time, and we still out-rebounded that tall team.
Yep, absolutely. And that right there was the nail biter right there, that drive there. Just a great effort for the boys, and as Grant drives in there again, Grant is going to be one of him and Bo is going to be the leaders of this team next year. Going to take Tyler and Chandler's place. Kerry's not happy there. I tell you, Kerry's one of the most calmest guys, but when he gets fired up, it's for a good reason. And I love this steal right here.
Oh, yeah. Garrett steals the ball along the sideline, drives down for the layup.
And you thought right then and there, was like, oh my goodness, we're going to, we could come back 2 minutes to go. And again, Garrett's anticipation was great right there, and just, definitely took it to the hoop. And, again, you thought, well, maybe we're going to come back, and there's another steal right there from Tyler, and he gets just rejected. I mean, just a sad game for these boys. And that pretty much sealed the deal right there. And here's Chandler's last shot. It's going to go in.
At the buzzer, right. That's the final points of the ball game for the Spartans.
Yeah, and again, we went to Southport. We went on their house. It's different when it's a regular season game playing at somebody's house because it's a regular season game.
Sure.
This is for the regional, going to the championship game of the regional finals, which is going to go to the semi-state. And we went to their house. We went to their floor in a much more magnified atmosphere than if it was a regular season game. And we took it to them. They were scared to death. I mean, they blew out Terre Haute by 30. And so you got to think of what could have been, but what is a great season for the conference.
Yeah, it was a great season. 21-6, I think.
21-6.
We got as you mentioned, Coach Brown and his assistants, J.D. Miller, Chris Bottomley, Zach Ray, and Cody Smith. They worked with these guys all season long and turned out quite a team.
Just a fantastic team. A team that never ever gave up. Never ever gave up. I mean, we saw some games where we had a couple overtime games. We weren't there at the first Newcastle game, but they were down 12 at one point. And they came back and won by 11. The Muncie Central game where we were just getting. There was no reason why we should have won that game, but somehow the boys never panicked and they came back and really won that game by double digits. I mean, these kids were. Sammy was pretty emotional on the radio broadcast, and he had to hold back the tears, and I felt the same way. This was a special group of kids, but I'm excited. I'm counting down until next season because these kids. They're going to go farther next year.
Yeah, we hate to see the seniors leave. Tyler Billups and Chandler Graves, but. We got a great nucleus coming back.
We do. We do. And again, a couple of years ago, we saw Bo Isaacs emerge as a freshman, and he was one of the first freshmen players that we seen get a lot of playing time in all the years that we have done it. Then last year, Garrett was a freshman, and this year Noah. So there's this. It plays dividends. Of course, Bo was injured last year for 11 games, but that didn't stop him this year. And again, he's going to be a senior. Grant's going to be a senior. We have a great nucleus. We have a great team. It's a team atmosphere. You talk about the Butler way. It's the Connersville Spartans way.
In the night ball game. Terre Haute South used up all their gasoline in the tank in the afternoon game. They scored 94 points to take North Central out.
Was it. Yeah, they put all their eggs in that basket. You would have thought that Terre Haute South at 94 points. That they had the momentum clearly because they had that rest. They had that time in between. But Southport, of course, they're a tough team. They righted the ship, and boy, they blew them out.
Oh, it was no contest at all. It was over in the first 2 or 3 minutes. It seemed like because Southport jumped off to the big lead, and Terre Haute never could catch them, and it was a 30-point win for Southport in the night ball game. That was 94-85 was the afternoon. The first game.
Terre Haute, it was a high-scoring game. I remember that. I don't remember the exact score.
I'm wondering about how many high school scores like
94
that.
points. That's like scored 200 in the NBA almost. I mean, it's you know, the amazing thing about high school sports is that, you know, I'm from Ohio originally, so, you know, of course football is the
Yes.
big sport over there. You know, over there in Ohio, not every team gets in the playoff. You have to earn your way, and you got it's a point system, kind of like the college football thing. So it's pretty big over here. But there's something about Hoosier hysteria. You talk about March Madness, Hoosier hysteria, because that can develop a whole community, and it just community pride. You got school pride, but then you have the whole community, and there's nothing like Hoosier hysteria. And these kids, these Connersville Spartans, this edition, brought that back to this town.
Yes, they did. That final score is 94-82, checking my notes here, as Terre Haute South took out North Central. And the Panthers were the favorite to win the regional.
Yeah, you know, I didn't think. I was worried when we drew Southport because they were ranked #1 last year.
Yes.
They were ranked #1, I think, part of this year, weren't they, at one time?
At one time,
yeah,
yes, in the early part of the season.
And I thought, oh, my goodness. And the teams that usually beat them were a zone defense. We're not a zone defense type team.
Right.
And so I thought, oh, they're just going to give us trouble. That height is just too much. But you know, I felt terrible thinking that, because our boys really responded very well. And again, I didn't think anything that they would score. I thought they'd score 60 points, and here they only score 42. And I figured if they would score less than their average, we would have the victory. But you know, it didn't. Again, we can always analyze it and try to figure it out.
Right.
Next
Yeah,
year.
you can rehash and rehash and rehash, can't we? Yeah. Okay, Southport will take on New Albany in the semi-state at Richmond this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. New Albany is 25-1. These two teams did not meet during the season. New Albany came out of the Seymour Regional. Those scores, they defeated Bloomington South 73-66 in the first game, and Evansville Rights over Franklin Central 81-80 in the second game of that regional, and then final New Albany beat Evansville Rights by 14, 84-70. So it's New Albany again. I mentioned they've only lost one time. They've won 22 straight games.
Yeah, it seems
Southport may have their hands full, although they've won 14 straight.
Yeah. Southport's, you know, they're definitely on a high. And
yes.
And when you've been #1, that's where you want to get back to. Is you want to get back to #1, and they definitely have the talent. You know, Connersville put a scare in them. I mean, we definitely scared them for sure. And so, you know, we saw a totally different team when they played Terre Haute South. So, you know, I expect that, you know, New Albany is going to have their hands full, although they're tough too.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Their only loss was a 5-pointer to Pike on December 12th, 73-68. So they know how to win. And New Albany, I think, is ranked #1. I think so.
Yeah. New Albany is. You know, it's amazing because you know, we were our sectional. We went to Newcastle, then we went to Indianapolis, and now the regional goes out to it. It seems like we're getting farther away from Indianapolis. You know? I mean, I don't know how they figure this stuff out.
I don't either. I don't know who they.
I missed when we hosted the sectional. We need to get that back.
Oh, that would be great.
Maybe we can rotate it around. I don't know. That would be nice.
I think athletic director at CHS, Brent Duncan, said that there's talk of that, but everybody has to agree to it unanimously, and they won't. All the people involved in that particular tournament have to agree.
Newcastle doesn't want to give that up.
No.
But it would make sense. I mean, since our bowl is about like their bowl,
sure.
You know, we think it would be nice to go around. That way each school has, as you said, it's real difficult to go to someone else's house and play them in a regional game. But you know, it would be nice for the schools. It would generate income for each school. And it would just seem like it would just be fair if they would do that. And who cares? You know, the IHSAA, they rule with an iron fist. Just tell them, here's what's going to happen.
Sure we will. Right. Yeah, some other basketball action at Michigan. The Michigan City Regional, Warsaw beat Crown Point. McCutcheon won over Homestead. And at Lafayette, it was Warsaw plays McCutcheon in the title game, is what that, and these all feed into Indianapolis for the finals on a week from Saturday.
I can't believe it. That we're. I mean, this is the semi-state, and then we got the finals after that, and then it's the basketball season's over, and a lot of these kids, they play different sports. They play baseball, but it'd be hard to transition into a new sport after such a successful season that these guys had. And again, Spartan faithful they're counting down the day. And if Sammy were here, we would know how many days it would be until the day before Thanksgiving.
Girls, right?
He would know that.
Yeah,
or the girls too.
The girls basketball.
And we got to remember the girls. I mean, the girls had a rough season last year. They were all so young. When you're 7 out of 13 freshmen, their stock's on the rise with more experience.
Right. So, but everybody, all the Spartan fans, and we have to go into basketball withdrawal, I guess.
I know, I'm feeling it already. I'm trying to follow the Pacers, but even pro, you just don't get that. As you do high school sports, I mean, just something about the high school, because you don't hear the fan bases from each school, especially when we played Franklin County, and Franklin County's fan base they were shoving our players out, but they were saying, let's play football, and then we came back with, let's play soccer. But there's something about that atmosphere that's so special.
It's not recreated any place else.
No, not at all, not at all. And again, I've said it before. I said it during the Newcastle game when we played Newcastle for the championship. I don't know if these kids recognize just how blessed they are to be playing in a facility such as the Spartan Bowl for home games. Stan Howard told me the story when CBS was doing the story on Matt when he was in his second championship game for the NCAA title against Connecticut. And they were in here and they came to the bowl, and the guy was like, this is where he played high school basketball? Are you kidding me? And I've shared on Facebook, Thomas Burke had posted some stuff about how our intro and everything, and I shared on Facebook to my buddy who I've been trying to get over here to watch it, and he's excited. He's like, I got to come over and watch a basketball game.
Sure.
And we're blessed. We're blessed to be able to call games there in that place.
Oh,
it's
absolutely. It's a great place to play basketball, and the fans. You can't say enough about our fans this season.
Right. Yeah. They have been. I tell you what, they're going to need a new roof on that place. I mean, they replaced the floor, but we've had fans this year doing the Hulk Hogan, out there tearing the place up when our guys did well. The chance of defense. We've had it all this year, and these boys never let anything go to their head. As Kerry said, there wasn't one star. That we were a team. And again, you talk about the Butler way. I'm going to say it again. It's the Connorsville way. And Kerry Brown, I don't think that guy gets enough credit for the leadership that he poses for these kids, the patience that he seems to show. I'm sure he doesn't practice, but during the ball game, I mean, Kerry, he's a class guy. You can't ask for a better coach.
Well, and his demeanor carries over to the team.
Exactly. He's not panicking. The kids feed into that.
Well, you and I have watched coaches from other schools
go ballistic.
Yeah, act wild.
Get teased.
Right, and the kids feed off of that. I think it goes over to the team and and gets your kids shaken up, and it can affect the game.
Absolutely. It's funny here. Our guys make a dunk, and I blow out the truck from getting screaming so loud. And Kerry's just calm as can be, and there's a picture on Facebook where Grant's slamming it down there in Newcastle, and Sammy's making it all excited. And there's the coaches; they expect it. I mean, they're just calm and cool and collected. Sure. I mean, we could be down 30, and Kerry's the same way, but inside he's got to be excited. I mean, it's
I would
amazing.
Think so. Right.
Yeah, and he showed a lot of emotion too. Kerry did during the radio broadcast. It was a tough loss for the team, but you could tell that guy was beaming with pride with how well his team fought all year long.
Well, I go back to early in the season. We had him here on TV3 on a program. We were talking about the basketball season and teams, and I said, who do you think is going to be real good this year? And he said, well, the experts are predicting this team, that team, and this team. And he said, they're kind of overlooking us, and I think that's okay.
Yeah. Because
at that time, it was pretty evident that we had a good ball club.
Right. Yeah, and it's going to be evident next year that we're going to have a good ball club as well. Again, the nucleus, as you said before, the nucleus of foundations there. Chandler Graves, we're losing him. That guy did so much that the stat sheets don't show.
Well, his defense
was. Yeah. I mean, that guy is from the Gary Payton School of Defense. I mean, he knows how to really defend. And we're losing him. And Tyler, his quiet leadership. I mean, that guy's going to be gone.
Yes.
So, but again, we have Bo and Grant, so we have the nucleus there. I don't think they're going to be overlooked next year. I don't think next year they'll be overlooked.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah. And so it's going to take a different demeanor because now we're going to be kind of the hunted. So
Well, they
but I'm excited about
they put
that.
a bullseye on your back,
Yeah.
and now you're you're the guy that they're looking for and everything they're ready for.
And that's a good problem to have, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
There were some other events. The track team went to Anderson University and were in an invitation over the weekend. Saturday we had Cassie Moore, who did 6th in the shot put. Mason Sullenberger came in 2nd in the long jump and 2nd in the high jump. So they're getting underway at the track.
Yeah, track is spring is in the air. Mason is the Superman, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder if that guy
Yes.
did a couple flips during his high jump. I mean, that guy's incredible. Swimmer, and Superman impersonator. So yeah, track is fun to watch. It's you have to really keep your eyes on everything because they got different events going on at the same time. But get out there and support your track team. They're a fun team to watch, and those kids work hard as well. I mean, you got to. That shot put, that hurts so much watching the kids do that.
It's a great sport.
Yeah,
I mean,
track is. I wish I could run.
And I think they'll do real well this year. I think Jeff Cooley is their coach, and I think they'll have a good season. Some of the other events we talk about every so often on this show, the baseball will be opening on March the 23rd at Rushville. They'll be at Union County on April the 4th, and their first home game will be on April the 5th with Richmond. It's not too far off.
No, not at all. Again, baseball season is in the air. You smell that fresh cut grass, and baseball is the national pastime. And again, when you think of baseball, spring and summer, and I like those types to see. I like those seasons.
Boys golf begins April the 9th. They'll be in the Yorktown Invitational. April the 21st, we'll be home for the first time to meet Richmond. Girls tennis starts March the 31st with Rushville. The softball, the girls open at Franklin County on April the 2nd. They go to Newcastle on April the 4th, and they'll be home to East Central on April the 5th. That's the softball. And as we talked a little bit about track and field, these are indoor events right now because of the weather. March the 5th, they were at Jay County, and April the 7th they'll be outside to take on Centerville at CHS. So those are some of the events coming up for this spring. Want to talk about football?
Yeah, football. It's never too early to talk about football.
August 19th, Richmond will be opening the season with the Spartans here at Connorsville.
And that's another team we followed last year, very young team. So this team, with the experience of last year, we had a lot of losses that were, way out of our hands, and we had a lot of close losses as well. So, this team showed improvement each game, and so I think that with the year under their belt, again a lot of freshmen with their year under the belt, I think this year is going to be a better season, much better for the faithful and for the team.
August 19th at Richmond, we might run through the schedule here. They'll be at Franklin County on next Friday on the 26th. They'll be at Greensburg on September 2nd. They'll have a couple of away games, and then be back home with South Dearborn on September the 9th. Meet Rushville here on September the 16th. Go to Broad Ripple at Indianapolis on the 23rd of September, and meet East Central here on the 30th. In October, they'll go to Lawrenceburg on the 7th and close the season with a home game on the 14th with Batesville. So that's the schedule. 5 home games this year for Adam Kelly and his football team.
Much better than last year when they had 4.
Right. It alternates 5 and 4. Will be a 4 away. You picked your NCAA winner yet?
I'm really. I tell you, the bracket. I don't know what they're thinking. IU gets a 4 seed. That was shocking to me. and I think, okay, well that's convenient because IU was 5 and Kentucky's 4. One of the two. Yeah. But they're supposed to meet the second round. That's kind of convenient, isn't that? And then they're playing in an arena that I don't think is much bigger than the bowl. So you're going to have IU and Kentucky playing in, and then Oregon gets over Michigan State. I don't quite understand their seedings. They seem very they didn't like the Big Ten this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure how those guys figure this out either.
Yeah, but I think Kansas is the best team. I think North Carolina is a good team as well. But you know, who knows? And when you come to the March Madness, anything can happen, and it usually does.
Yes, it does. I mean, if you can pick a winner on this thing, well,
yeah, that's right. What is it? Warren Buffett had a few years ago where he'd give $1 billion if you were perfect. Yeah, that would be awesome. I'd like to do that.
That was something like that.
Who's your winner?
But you know, I really don't know. I just wish the best for the Indiana teams, and also out of Cincinnati, Xavier and Cincinnati. I hope they both do well.
Yeah, Xavier is a good team. They were in the top 5, pretty much all year, top 10 without question. So you know, they could be a dark horse. They could be, I mean, not necessarily a sleeper, but I wouldn't be surprised if they won it.
Yeah, and the Hoosiers, they had a tough break in the tournament. We're out of the Big Ten tournament first game, but. You never know about those guys.
That's right. Yeah. Well, yeah. They've been a team where you play on their floor and you're ranked, you're going to lose. I
mean, they won the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And stumbled in conference, but they played well during the season.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, I was kind of on the fence of, okay, we got to get Crean out of here, because I think the team that when they were ranked number 1 was probably that team should have won it all. But sometimes his substitutions and his alignments just don't seem to add up. But at the same time, I think he did a great coaching job this year with this team.
I think so.
So he definitely deserved his rewards.
And I think they lost a couple of players through injuries, a couple of key players.
Yeah. So he did a fine coaching job this year. So I think those who were wanting his head on a platter have kind of softened their stance a little bit now. But again, I was just not quite sure where their reasoning was with a lot of the Big Ten teams.
Yes.
Why they were, who was ranked there and why, but.
Yes, and Purdue, they had a good season.
Yeah, Purdue had a great season.
They came close to knocking off Michigan State in the title game of the Big Ten Conference, but couldn't quite pull it off. But they should go far in the tournament.
Yeah, they should. I mean, I would not be surprised if a 4 or 5 seed from the Big Ten did not make the Final Four, the Elite 8 at least. But this is one of those. It's that time of the year where upsets are going to happen. Teams that you think, well, geez, they only won 15 games, and somehow they got in the tournament, and they just go on a wild ride. So it's fun.
Notre Dame's a pretty good team. We don't hear much about them down here because they're so far away, but they always make some noise.
Yeah, and they beat Duke the other day. So I think they beat. It was a close game. If I remember, I think they did beat Duke. They were ranked in the top 20 for most of the year. I tell you a team though, and this is the girls, but that University of Connecticut girls basketball team, I would like to see them play in the boys tournament. Just
UConn.
Yeah, man, I think they've won like 120 out of 121 games. I mean, they're like 120-1. I mean, that's just rude.
It's almost an automatic every year.
Yeah, well, I don't know why I have the tournament. Just give them the title, and there you go.
Well, we talked a little bit about high school baseball. I think the Reds, what's going to happen? Everybody said if they win 70, they'll be lucky or something like that.
If they win 50, they'll be. They're pitch. I tell you what, Walt Jocketty used to do. That guy was like a genius when he was with the St. Louis Cardinals. Then he came over to us, and I think he purposely sabotaged the Reds. And they got to investigate that guy. I'm being serious. I mean, he makes these. You give Homer Bailey $100 million. Where did he come up with that number? And the Joey Votto deal, you give the guy $200 million. If we were in the American League and had a DH, I would understand that, but. He's going to be 38 years old, 39 years old, and we're still going to be on the hook for $20-something million. I don't get it.
Jocketty, I'm like you. St. Louis, he a miracle worker.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But he comes to Cincinnati, and I don't know what happened.
Well, we traded away all of our guys. They called me up. They wanted me to. They were going to trade for me, and I don't know how to pitch. You get guys that have, rotator cuff surgery, Tommy John surgery, a guy whose ERA is over 10, and what are you getting these people for? I don't know what happened.
I don't know either. It should be an interesting season, but
I don't know. Johnny Cueto, $100 million, or Homer Bailey. You got to go with Homer, Johnny Cueto.
I've never figured out some of those long-range deals. I don't know where they were coming from, but those guys' agents, they must be.
They're loving it.
I mean, if you want an agent, go get one of those guys because
we need them.
They'll get you. They'll get the job done for you. Well, Ron, appreciate you stopping in tonight.
Hey, no problem.
Talking a little bit about Spartan basketball, which we can always talk about.
Oh, we can talk about this for another hour.
Spartan's all season long as to what's coming up, and should be an interesting spring and a nice summer, and then baseball or football there in August. So it'll be good. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks for watching TV3, folks, and the Spartan Sports Report.